Hello. This is somewhat of a risky start because I didn't actually test whether my mic was functional. So here's hoping you guys actually hear me, and Buffy is already asking to be sat on my what? On my lap. But so, hey guys, how are you all doing? It is time for Thursday Sprints, as always. I have not been having a great reading week, so I've kind of been feeling like semi slumpish. Like, I don't like to call it a slump because, like, it's been a week. I have read every single day of it as well, so I mean, who am I to call it a slump? But I've not really been feeling like it, and part of that is, I guess, reading too much at the same time. Starting on a meow. I love it. Yes. That would be this little bastard. Mic works. Perfect. Ahoy. Hello. Mic is working. Perfect. Hello. Oh, my Discord is still open because I get the sound notification. Bye bye. Uh, Hello. Good evening. Hello, hey kitty. Just responded to your comment on my video. I saw your entry in my YouTube list and thought to myself, oh yeah, that's tomorrow. Then just 10 minutes ago realized, no wait, it's today. Yeah, I was also confused when I was trying to find this live show for the backstage area because it shows both the creation date and the day in which you're going live. And so I created this like the 2nd of February. And so I was like, wait, but where's my live show? Why is there a live show for the 2nd of February still here? But managed it in the end. Hello, Ruff. So I will be starting. Yeah, now my arm is occupied and my book is on the other side. Sorry, Buffy. I am start. Yeah, okay. This was worth nothing if you're gonna get out. So I'm going to start with a few pages of Curse of the Mistwraith because I am reading this one chapter a day. I was kind of trying to catch up, but as people who are on Yolene's server will know, I have been struggling with reading a little bit and just trying to get through this quicker just wasn't possible. So I am not even halfway through yet because it's 800 pages long and I am like 270 in, but I only have like 3 pages or so still to go in the chapter today, and then it'll be for tomorrow another chapter. But I am enjoying it. It's just that it's not even it's dense. It's just something that I feel like takes me too long to get through a chapter, and so it's frustrating when I try to read more than one chapter in a day. And so my main book for today is going to be The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which I totally thought I was going to be done with by now already. So this is a book that I'm not, I want to say I'm not enjoying, but that's also not fully true. It's just that it is based on one of my favorite movies of all times, on You've Got Mail, and as a result, I love the movie so much more than I'm loving this. But I do still want to finish it, especially since it's a fairy loot book, and so it cost me quite a cost me quite a bit. That's what you say, right? Wow, so many comments. Where was I? Where was I? There. I actually read something this week, so I'm calling it a great reading week for me. The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi was great. Highly recommend. Nice, you finished it. Congratulations. I was clearly losing track of the day of the week again. I mean, it's better news then because then you thought it was Wednesday now, but it's already Thursday. It's almost the end of the work week. Gonna try to finish The Nature of Fascism. Yeah, that is how you pronounce it, right? Tonight, while scanning the Vikings and the Victorians. Nice. I've been neglecting my buddy read, so I want to try to finish After the Flood tonight. 150 pages left. Nice. I almost missed it because I have time off work, and so weekdays don't mean anything right now. Thanks for the reminder on Discord. You are welcome. I'm going to try and read some more and start The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. About to start Sense and Sensibility. Nice. I was sad watching the booktube as I tend to spend my evenings these days desperately trying to keep up. I mean, I'm nowhere near caught up or anything like that. I just really watch a random video here or there whenever one crosses. It's definitely days I'm always watching gymnastics more or less because of gymnastics season. So yeah, just remember like a note to self for January to March 2024. Don't think you're gonna do anything else than watching gymnastics. Apparently, I'm still reading Royal Assassin. I started it quite early on in February and I'm barely a sliver into it and was supposed to finish it this month. Great book though, truly, but it's dense. Yeah, it is definitely dense. I think with Royal Assassin, the intrigue just kept me going with that one because I don't know whether I took long to read it, but it is my favorite of that series. And I don't remember it being a slog for me at all, or I don't remember like having difficulties getting to it. But it might also in your case just be that you haven't had much time for it this month. But with that one, I think I flew through it. For me, mainly I remember Assassin's Quest being the one that I struggled with. Hello. Oh, and I saw you read Feet in Silence. I just finished my arc and had similar thoughts. I was almost bored. It was almost boring for such a good premise. Yeah, it definitely was a struggle at times because, yeah, I don't know. I find it a difficult one to talk about because I feel like it brings up interesting topics, but then it didn't satisfy. I was just always like, okay, that would have been interesting. That's an interesting topic or theme to look at, and then I didn't feel like it explored that well enough for me to feel like it did something interesting with it. I want to start Bloodmarked, sequel to Legendborn tonight. Nice. I would start reading. You are going to read Adventures of Amina Al Sirafi. It is on my March TBR, but we'll see. I think like the only thing that I'm fully committed to, it has to happen, is Kushil's Chosen. And then I have a few that I would really love to get to, but I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself there because they're chunky. I mean, I think Amina Al Sarafi. Why is my camera unplugged? eh, wait, can I switch to my other camera? Okay, wait, that's the wrong camera, but at least we have some sort of visual. I will try to get the other one up and running in the next sprint. Yeah, wait. That pirate book might be the first popular booktube book I read since Babel last year. What I like to try and add a little comment, even if just to say, hey, I watched this, thanks. So I'm often posting to Discord and then I need to watch the episode to avoid spoilers in the chat. Hello. Two of my favorite sci-fi booktubers did a collab episode, Words in Time, crossed with the Shades of Orange. That was a long 30-minute episode I only just managed to finish before you went live. Hey Yolene, glad I didn't miss the sprints this week. I'm reading Priority of the Orange Tree, only at chapter 5, so I hope to make some progress. Yes, you've got it. I really disliked how it does the one thing that is terrible when doing research, extrapolating from your own feelings onto the animal and making it sound like facts. Yeah, exactly. And from the beginning with that book, I was like, the fact that you are going to be this test subject must be like a huge violation of like research parameters. And she's gone. I am hoping that I'm back now because otherwise I'm talking to no one again. I haven't even thought about my March TBR yet. It feels like it's only the beginning of February, yet it's nearly over. Same, but at the same time, I've been feeling like February was almost over for like 5 days already, I feel like. So I feel like the end of February just never ends. Vanished. Yes, that is the laptop webcam, and the webcam is underneath my screen, which is why I hate my webcam because it has like the frog view, which is like, who wants that? Fun and games with live events, exactly. If I put all my current high interest book titles on my March TBR, I will simply explode. Good to know. I only have to read Under the Whispering Door in March for a book club. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Kushil's chosen is also for a book club and for one that I am hosting. So that is the only real obligation. Other book club books I would love to do. That was super loud. I will also fix that. So wait, before we go, that's a better volume. Okay, so let's go into the first sprint, guys. See you in 40. Hello, I'm back. I'm also all tangled up in the wire of this mic and the wire of my webcam, but I cannot change that right now for fear of ruining the webcam. Wait, where was I? Here. I only have to read Under the Whispering Door in March for a book club. I don't know whether I already read that one or not. I need to have a look at my March TBR that I made back in December. Shield for sure, but other than that, I don't remember. I want to read the Gilded Wolves trilogy. March also did not do great with my February reading plans because I was traveling the last 5 days. I started really great, but I also read like stuff that wasn't on my plan. So I mean, it's still good. It's just that I had like only 3 books, I think, that I put on my February TBR, and I will have read 2 of them, but it's fine. Let's go. I mean, by now we're done for the first sprint. I read some 20-ish pages, I think, in The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. Yes, 22 pages. And I am actually quite enjoying this section right now. Basically, if you know You've Got Mail, we're now in the section after the first meetup. So that is a little bit more interesting of a section. A behind the scenes view of the mechanics of StreamYard. The book club that does the Under the Whispering Door is an in-person book club, so that's why I have to read it. For online ones, I feel like I can always watch the discussions later. Yeah, I usually still try to do it like to be there just because I don't find myself rewatching the live shows or the conversations if I read it after the live has taken place. I did do it now for sort of Kaigen, just because I couldn't watch that live show live because I was on an airplane at that point in time. But then it was just like not too far behind the real live show, and then I still kind of miss not being able to weigh in on the conversation, you know. So I feel like when I watch, like when I read a book that has a discussion, I won't often go back to watching the conversation about it, whereas I would have loved to be there live when it was happening. 2 for 2 in the cat's apartment, yes. Slayers, yes. At the very last minute, Buffy also tried, well, successfully tried to slay Fate because the spot that Fate was lying in is now the spot where Buffy is lying. Hey Jess, hello. Glad to have some more people joining. Careful with those wires. Yeah, indeed. I'm like, yeah, this is where it's kind of tangled up. I don't even know how. I mean, I do know how it happened. I had to unplug that wire for the webcam a few times. I got 26 pages into Blood Marked. I'm so excited to read this book, and I hope I can fly through it the next couple of days. Hope you can as well. 8 pages. Sense and Sensibility, right? Yeah, I gotta make a list of my buddy reads so I don't forget any for March. Got 18 pages read. It's an interesting start. What were you reading again? I don't think I remember. Was it the Hannah Witten one? Are you the one who was reading the Hannah Witten one? Finished chapter 7, and I'm now in chapter 8 of 8 plus an epilogue, so 8 chapters and an epilogue in that. Yeah, what do you call it? Essay collection, I guess. 12:21 a.m. here, off to bed. Happy reading. Good night. Didn't check what page I was on before starting, but I made good progress on Goliath by Tochi Onyebuchi. I don't know how to pronounce that. I mean, the only reason why I know how many pages is because I was on page 200, so that made it really easy to calculate. I went back to my booktube backlog this session, almost all caught up. Nice. Then I'll go read Royal Assassin, Ketchikan to Command, if you know where I'm at. I mean, you think I have a memory? Don't you know that I have no active memory? I know who Ketrican is. That's already something nice. But I don't know enough about what happens in Royal Assassin anymore, almost. Hello, I am doing fine. A little bit slumpish when it comes to my reading, partly just because I'm reading too much at the same time, partly also because I'm not reading anything that's like really sweeping me away. But that's not to say that I'm not enjoying things I'm reading. I'm just not loving anything that I'm reading at the moment. Hey, Eliana. Has he been a little bit of a ghost? Hey, I finally finished updating my entire own TV owned library in the story graph. I have many stats. Would you like to know a couple of facts? Okay, how many unread books in your library, and what is the sort of like ratio read unread? I am here and on Twitter as per usual. I did not read during the sprints. Hopefully, I'll do better the next ones. There's always the next ones. I miss the books that you're reading. I read like 3 pages in the Jenny Ward's book. So I basically read this on my commute. So usually I get some 20 pages done in my commute. And so it depends on the length of the chapter whether I still need to read after work. But today I only had 3 pages left of this chapter. So only three in that today. And then I think by the end of this month, I'll be like halfway through, whereas I, of course, intended to finish it. And then I'm reading Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon for my main read at the moment, which is also a book that I thought I would long be done with now, but we are slowly getting there. The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. Okay, nice. Got 81 pages left. No idea how this is gonna end. You were reading After the Flood. You remember so many plot points for your coverage of books, way more than I would ever manage. I mean, when I talk about my books, I talk about them when I've just finished them, you know. And I didn't do it in January, and once again, I haven't done it in February since I have yet to film an update clip for my February wrap up. So I will also have to do it at the end of the month. And for my January one, I did it last weekend. It was such a struggle in parts because I was like, oh, wait, I don't actually remember anything about this book that I finished in January. I was wrapping boyfriend's birthday presents that finally arrived. His birthday was Tuesday. Sad that it was late, but it's like an extension to his birthday now. I'm bad at the Twitters. Not truly an essay collection, but the book is separated into 3 main parts: defining fascism, testing the definition against historical examples, and looking at the preconditions for fascism. Okay. Yeah, so that's the naked one. The actual cover is over there on my coffee table, but it is a beautiful naked hardcover, and it has beautiful sprayed edges as well. But I'm not loving it. I mean, it's not bad, but I know that Charlotte, who's also in the chat, she absolutely loved it. So 82% of my entire library is fiction, and 86% of my library are print books, with the rest being digital. Yeah, that stat I saw on Twitter. I finished the Wild Bill today. I will start the second tomorrow. Oh, I don't know. I should. Is the thing up already right now? I guess now it'll be up, right? Because I wanted to fill in the poll for it earlier this month, but it wasn't shared yet. And so now I'm already at the stage where I'm like, I remember nothing of this book. And now I have to give an opinion about it. Where is it? Psalm for the Wild Bills. Yeah, it's up. Okay, I'll have to try and recreate my thoughts about Psalm for the Wild Bills for that. Can you guess my top 3 favorite genres? Okay, definitely sci-fi at the top, fantasy second. Horror third. Though you aren't very interested in in reading cannibal books, I think. So maybe you are not a horror person. But then what would be a third? Like, is comic a genre? I don't know whether you read much comics, but after having a bunch of meh reads, I read one last night that Storygraph recommended to me that I owned, and they know what I like better than I do. Yeah, I let. So this is actually the Undertaking of Heart and Mercy is also Storygraph, who decided it for me. It is the color wheel in combination with Storygraph that chose this book for me, and I don't think it's a full success, but it is a book of my physical TBR that I will be done with at the end of this month, hopefully. I mean, I think this one I can still finish this month. Oh crap, I can't remember what stats I posted where. I don't realize that I posted some of this to Twitter. Oops. Well, no worries. How is your TBR going? You didn't mention the numbers in your videos in a while. Well, I haven't posted in a while. That is a problem. And I actually don't like for my January wrap up, which I filmed last weekend and still need to post. I guess it will come out when normally my February wrap up would go up. But then I was like, wait, what number did I land on? And I actually am not fully sure right now. I'll just check Notion. It should be somewhere around 22, I think now. I was at some point thinking I was gonna do really, really well this month, and then I start not at 21 at the moment. So if I finish Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, it will go down to 20. Then Curse of the Mistreated would have brought it back down to 19, but it's not getting done this month. But so yeah, that's nice. I did hope at the beginning of this month to finish a few of the July 2nd book haul. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those left. But yeah, that ain't happening. I still need to read the sequel to Song for the Wild Build. Love that first one. The second one is like tentatively on my March TBR because I just want to like get them done with one after the other so that and it's not that important, I guess, the plot of the first one to go into the second one, but I might as well like finish them out one after the other. Comic is a genre. I say horror, yes. My top genre is indeed sci-fi. Second place is you are correct, fantasy. Yes. The chances of you guessing the third place genre are slim because even I. Is this romance? Please. My third favorite genre, according to the Storygraph, is cookbooks. Oh wow, I don't mark any sort of like cookbook, so I would never get that. I would never even thought of that. But that's nice. Oh, on the quiz, we had to answer the name of the author of the roasting tin. Is that how the book is called in English? And we got so close. It was just like one small problem with the first name. Not that I now know what the name was, but yeah, we were so close. It was so annoying when we saw the answer. And we're like, we were that close. So that's why why you're always talking about dessert on sprints. I mean, you did find some romance books on your TBR, so who knows? That would have been the most plot twist of plot twists. Rukmini Iyer. Yeah, I think we went with like Rushmini or something like that. So like a really small difference in the first name. But yeah, I hope they still gave us like half a point for getting the last name correct. I have our entire set of roasting tin books. Yeah, I only have the green roasting tin because I'm vegetarian, but I do like that one. I feel like at this point my favorite genre would be Nazi stuff if you look at my Goodreads. I mean, that's definitely a red flag, ref. I think a lot of my romance books were Amazon First Reads via their Prime Reading program. Okay. I have like romance. It's actually interesting because Storygraph will be able to tell me that, right? Because I did have a whole sort of like romance era, but my red books. Where's the genre? Yeah, fantasy is by far like I think I have some 1,000 books marked on both Goodreads and Storygraph, and so 376 of those, so about a third, are fantasy. And then we get to YA, yeah, that boat has sailed. And literary fiction is the third, and that is like 170 historical classics. Romance is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th position, which is also pretty high. But yeah, romance also, some of those fantasies will be fantasy romances, I guess, or like literary fictions that also are counted for romance to some extent. But I also, as I said, had a big romance era at one point in time. I think before joining BookTube, my most successful year in terms of the number of books that I read is a year in which I read so many romance books. So my unread percentage is 69% of my entire collection. Less than 1% are DNFs. A red flag is what I salute daily. Nice. I feel like I read nothing but fantasy, but I want to dive into a couple of other genres too. Like I read nothing but fantasy. I definitely read more than just fantasy, but like as I was discussing this with Silla as well on your Discord, that I always feel like I'm out of balance when it comes to my different genres, because I really do like reading literary fiction. I really do like reading translated fiction, which is kind of cross with some other genres as well. Of course, I didn't consider it a genre until I joined the English speaking book community, which translated fiction is talked about as if it is a genre. But so I'm constantly struggling with balancing out all of those things. And so for years, I didn't really read much fantasy. And so now I'm catching up to fantasy again. But then when I'm reading more fantasy, I'm like, oh, I almost never had time for like this or the big literary fictions of the year. So uh, it's always a lose. There's no win win, there's lose lose, especially getting back into historical fiction and romance. Yeah, historical fiction, like I think what is often marked as historical fiction, why historical fiction is quite high in my stats, is just things that I consider more on the literary fiction of things of sides, more on the literary fiction side of things, which then take place in the past and then also get that historical fiction mark. They have speculative as a separate genre, which was awesome for that onboarding challenge prompt. Is this for the wild thingy, the wild adventure? Because I obviously have not looked at that at all this year, so I don't know whether I've been fulfilling any of those prompts. Well, story graph classifications are weird. I never know which one is prioritized or why. I think they're typically just like two assigned to a book, or just one if it's like really clear cut. So it counts for multiple things. So I think like the 300 and whatever books that are counting for fantasy, probably there's some sort of a cross, right? Because otherwise I think there are too many books in my store. Yeah, there are too many books otherwise. If like I count the genre tallies, if I add those up, that's gonna come to more than the 1,000 books that I've marked. So I'm pretty sure that some just count for multiple genres. But yeah, I think I mentioned this once as well in a live show, and then Tufty was saying that they are also like looking at those things, because I find it weird that like LGBTQIA plus is like a genre, whereas like any other type of representation is not a genre. And so, but yeah, that's just a small tangent here. Whoops, almost time to sprint, and I'm totally not caught up to the comments. I got the Amazon First Reads email and pick things out by genre, thriller, mystery, sci-fi, etc. Instant pick. Sometimes they turn up a YA romance too by chance. You can always go for it. The least read genre or something, whatever. I get to read a Vandermeer for that. Nice. My next favorite genres are thriller, mystery, and comics. Yeah, thriller, mystery are pretty low in my stats, I assume. Seriously, though, it's probably fantasy, sci-fi, literary fiction in that order. Adding academic books on Goodreads somehow feels like cheating. I mean, it's reading, and you're definitely doing more than enough of it for it to count, in my opinion. Would you like to guess at the total number of books that I own, both physical plus digital? I don't own any audiobooks. Maybe in the next one, because that is a difficult one to think of. Yes, I read a lot of children's early chapter books or picture books, which also feel like cheating to add. I don't remember enough of those, but I also wasn't really a reader until I became like 10 or 11. So this total number of books hasn't been revealed anywhere yet. Okay, nobody but I know this number. Think about, make guesses, guys, during the next sprints. I have the same issue with genres. I always want to read all of them, and I kind of forget about fantasy for a while. Yeah, now fantasy is more like the priority for me, but then sometimes I feel like it's too much fantasy compared to rest. So, time for another sprint. See you guys in 40 minutes. And we're back. So I read some 32 pages and it's getting good, but there was also a section in which I was like, maybe this was not the best book to be reading on camera. I just want to read books, all of the books. Yes, all the books. That's the issue. Too little time for getting to all the books in the world, so decisions need to be made. Truest words have never been spoken. I just always feel like missing out, no matter what genre I'm reading. True. The genres come from the publisher. They have detailed discussions amongst the librarians about which applies. I'm old enough that books set during my lifetime are classified as historical and I do not like it. Yeah, I mean, I refuse to let like a book in the 90s be called historical. In my mind, it's not. But the general rule is to look at the publisher's side and use what they say applies as close as possible, okay? It's a Storygraph one, the onboarding challenge. It kind of teaches you to how to use the app. Oh, okay. Wait, let me just first scroll to the bottom. Okay, nobody's talking about how I'm muted, so I assume you are all hearing me. I hate it. Manga as well is a weird separate genre. Ah, is manga one as well? Because I read a manga? No, probably not. Though, yeah, there you are. 8 mangas. Yeah, indeed. Feminism, also an interesting genre. Like, I guess that is a subgenre of nonfiction, right? Because I've read a lot more feminist books than just 9. Food and drink. What is this? One book. What are you? Ah, Eating Animals with Jonathan Safran Foer, of course. Makes sense. Wait, got distracted. Like the first time I heard Green Day on a classic rock stage, and I had a moment. Wait, what was this about? What did I'm old enough? All right, okay, yeah, I get it. So is 1984 a historical fiction now? Like, I mean, surely it needs to remain a dystopian mainly, right? Historical dystopian? Who knows? I added all my reference books to my story graph. Absolutely everything that I own. Wow. I didn't mark reference or cookbooks as to read, just owned. Yeah. That's why I have folders on my Kindle. The total number must be terrifying. Yeah, I untangled it because when I like sat back to start reading, I pulled out the camera, which was like, all right, this was why I said that it was dangerous to do that. Oh, I know exactly what my Kindle score is too. I love having all this accurate data at my fingertips now. Not that knowing just how many pages I have in all of my books is at all helpful. Yeah, I was gonna make a guess at that, right? I feel like I need some like a random guess is not gonna cut it, right? But there was a time in which you were hauling a whole lot, but I haven't seen much hauling now. Of course, I don't know how bad the situation was before that. But the fact that you had to spend so much time cataloging also makes me think that it's probably a pretty significant number. I'm gonna go for 666, the mark of the devil. No offense. I actually don't know how many books I have, so I don't know how to compare. Not that I've seen your shelf, so not that I would be able to compare in any case. I only have a few pages left. I will just finish that real quick. Yes, do. I got 25 pages in blood marked the main character just got a Scottish bodyguard. So I spent the session watching YouTube episodes. I have read 0 pages. That's not an oops. You got more further along into your backlog journey. Though I did have crushing dismay when a dulce de leche pie video had incorrectly synchronized audio and was thus unwatchable. I mean, you could still kind of like salivate over dulce de leche without hearing anything. I took a lot of my cookbooks out of the food and drink genre. Did 20 pages in Goliath. Now I have to go walk my dog. Thanks for the sprints. You're welcome. Have a nice walk. When I am fixing book data in the Storygraph, I often go down rabbit hole of fixing other unrelated broken things. Yeah, I can only imagine. I love how much your cats love you. Nothing worse than watching a video where someone says their cat or dogs keeps hitting the camera or tripod. Show up the speak. Show us the floops, not your books, lol. Yeah. This one is pretty difficult to get to leave my sides. Maybe floofs and books, yes. The best of both worlds. For instance, today I was searching for a fantasy book and the search routine pulled up a couple of religious books that needed merging into the same family, so I often go off at tangents. That's why fixing my data took so long. Yeah, that is my guess. 666. Getting close to the end of chapter 8, so I'll finish this book today. Nice. So the fascism one, right? Because you were just like dipping into the Vikings and Victorians one on the side. Vikings and Victorians. Is there much of an overlap with the Vikings and the Victorians? I'm just now imagining like like a very posh parlor scene in which you have like all these lords and ladies dressed up, and then like a rowdy Viking entering into the same scene. I have still been hauling pretty furiously. I just don't tend to show them as I haul so much. It's pretty silly now. Okay, okay. So is that you telling me that it's more than the 666, that I should up my guess? But I don't know. I also have literally no idea how many books I have. I definitely don't have 600. So maybe 600 is way too much of a guess. Like, that seems like an exorbitant amount. Like, how much space would I need for 600 books? I just already saw your remark of the fascism one. I finished After a Flood, not the best ending, but I liked it overall. I've noticed that I don't value a good ending as much anyway. For me, endings are really important. An ending can really make or break it for me. Like, not that a great ending will make me. Yeah, to some extent it can. In some cases, a great ending can kind of overcome some shortcomings. Whereas the other way around, it's more difficult for me to overlook the fact that it ends in a unsatisfactory way for me. I think there's legitimate scope for the mocking I receive. Okay, so 666 is way, way shorter than the mark, but way, way. Okay, so I mean, let's double it then. Like 1,300, is that still way off of the mark? Because that cannot be the case, right? The book is about the rediscovery and then adaptation of Old Norse text in the Victorian age and Romantic art. Oh, okay. Nice. I can understand that, but I don't even remember the ending of any of my favorite books. They're usually different scenes that stuck in my head. To be fair, I also don't necessarily remember the ending all that often, though I do remember the ending of like certain books that have left quite an impression. I do remember their endings, like the ending of The Handmaid's Tale, for example, but it's also just because I reread my review of that. When I completed the project yesterday, my own book scores was an unbelievably neat round whole number. You wouldn't believe it. It was too neat. There were a few Kindle sales today. Still short. I mean, your whole house is books then, but it is, of course, it was also your digital TBR, which for me, my digital TBR is like 40 books. So I cannot rely on my own experience here. But so if I'm close, then I'm gonna make it a beautiful 1,506 books because you bought a few books since last counting. I'm always amazed booktubers can whip out good memories of a story for their wrap ups. Yeah, exactly. Like, stories go in and out mainly in my mind. I read them while, like, I experience them while I'm reading them, but afterwards I forget them again. I still have to scan 200 pages, so I'll probably start The Triumph of the Moon before the Viking book. Okay, nice. Oh, Jesus. My Kindle book count is 254. Okay, 254. Of which you've read how much? Yeah, I remember nothing. I mean, I kind of feel like I've lost the skill to remember what I read, but then at the same time, when I was a teenager, I reread like favorite scenes so often that obviously I have much better memories of those books because there are certain scenes in there that I've reread 20,000 times. So I should give my older self some slack. There's a reason why I write so many reviews. I would never remember anything about them otherwise. Yeah, the problem is I always tell myself that I should like write the note to self section in the like the one that isn't public so that I can like write the ending in there so that I can remember. And then always when I'm reviewing, I'm like, there's no need. I will remember this ending. This is such a memorable ending. And then I, of course, don't remember the ending. So close, very close. The actual score of total owned books, print plus digital, when I finally completed my project yesterday was 1,600. I have a screenshot. I believe you. But where? Where do you place all those books? I don't think they're all unread. They are read and unread, I believe, he said in the beginning. Yeah, I remember rereading books many times when I was younger and had less capacity to buy books. Yeah, I didn't reread full books all that often. I think there are definitely a few that I reread like in full, but I definitely like I have that with movies a lot as well, that I just all of a sudden feel the urge to rewatch a specific scene. Like something will make me think of a scene within a movie, for example, and then I'll have the urge to rewatch that scene. And so with books it was the same, where I was like, ooh, I don't know. Really feel like rereading the ending of that particular book or that ballroom scene in that book or whatever, and then I would just like skim through the pages trying to find that scene and rereading it, which I actually did with the scene in Kushiel's Dart yesterday, for example. But now I don't do that as often as I used to anymore because I just always think like, yeah, no, let's just read something new. Let's just not waste so much time constantly rereading stuff. And as a consequence, of course, I don't remember my books as well as I did when I was rereading my favorite scenes over and over again. 69s are unread. Well, that's an interesting percentage there, Tufty. I only read books that make me angry. That helps with remembering stuff. It does actually. It's very annoying that like the books that um you have like the most aggravating, annoying experience with, those are the one for those ones you can fully remember what happened because you're like, yeah, I hated that. I hated that. I tried to list all my unread ebooks, reached 600, and decided that's enough shame for now. I will make a second pass next year when that number has hopefully gone down. Yeah, I don't know how. Like in the beginning, I just didn't like reading from my Kindle as much, and so I wasn't buying as much. And then I don't know why, but I just have always been like I've never really stumbled across the deals for Kindle the way that a lot of people do, for example. And some of the books that I now have are because of deals. But I at that point in time I was already in my project zero TBR, so much more aware of like not trying to add too many books at the same time. So I dodged the bullet when it came to digital content, but I will definitely be doing more digital reading in the future. I think once I'm back too close to zero TBR, I might just like pick up more Kindle stuff on occasion rather than buying everything new, for example. I have a room upstairs dedicated to books. It is full of bookshelves and otherwise only has a single chair in it. It's pretty full though. I'm having to stack above the bookcases now. Okay, explain something. Ooh, I missed that stat. But damn, well, lots of investments in your future happiness. Yeah. I remember a lot about books that have made me angry. You're onto something there, lol. Yeah, it's like they say, like it's almost easier to describe why you dislike a book than why you love a book. Um, which is definitely also the case. And so also my memory system works way better when it comes to those things than when it comes to the books that I love. And it's like, I loved it. Don't remember why. I just remember loving it. Yes, it is an interesting percentage. I have been really good with rereading this year. That makes me happy. Yeah, I don't know whether I should just like embrace it again because I always felt like it was a shame because I was always just rereading certain scenes and I was never rereading the full books. And actually, that's I then made a conscious effort to reread the full Harry Potters, and then I got to like read the first five like that, and it was not an okay experience because I was way more critical of the books than I was when I was a teenager or when I was just rereading my favorite scenes. And I was actually about to get to the point where I was going to read my least favorite book in the Harry Potter series when the whole thing went down and I decided that, it wasn't worth it anymore. So, but part of me still wonders whether if I reread my least favorite Harry Potter, whether I would have a different experience with it than the first time around, whether I would then think that that one was okay compared to the other ones where I felt like where I had so much nostalgia. And then that nostalgia got kind of smashed with rereading it in full. I just give myself a bit of pocket money each month, but it's not hard to buy more than I can possibly read in a month. I still do not like reading from my Kindle as much, which is why my digital books is only 14% of my total. I'm getting more used to reading from it. There definitely are a lot of advantages as well, and definitely compared to a hardcover book, I do prefer the digital version. It's all the romance freebies. I am weak, very weak. You never know is a terrible excuse, yet I use it every time. Yeah, I am pretty okay with that because, like, I think today and or like yesterday and today, the Tiago Abdullah book was for free, and I did consider it because it is on my wish list. And then I luckily was like, nope, you can actually spend money on it when you want to read it. Don't give into it. Of my 234 ebooks on my Kindle, 145 are Kindle freebies from sales and offers. Fantasy Author Access. It's my birthday, free books, and then I add them. Exactly that. I had a professor in college who had to move because she ran out of room for her books in her apartment. It was like a glimpse into my own future. Today I was evaluating my usage of Kindle Unlimited. I've added that data to my story graph now too, but it's not good. Books I've wishlisted for Kindle Unlimited have ended up going free at some point. About your anger reads, I have to read a lot of bad stuff for work, so I don't want to read bad books in my free time. Also, don't remember that. My brain deletes quickly. Nice. So, any free sci fi Kindle books too. That sounds fun, is all I need to get it, lol. I have so many unread free Kindle books. Yeah, definitely shouldn't be looking at free Kindle books clearly, because otherwise that's going to destroy my stats. When I was doing my books, I came across a lot of these sci-fi freebies, many with 1 or 2 star reviews. Yeah, I actually now I'm adding my Kindle books to my TBR stats. I mean, if I'm buying them now, not the ones that I already have. So I'm definitely not getting any freebies because it's going into my TBR stats. Quite often I see books by an author and go, oh, I want to read them. Then I notice my reviews from years and years ago. It might be terrible, but it's free. What if everyone else is wrong? I'm I think I'm okay with having FOMO for it, luckily. The free books charts on Amazon reveal lots of meat men covers, the type with bare chests. It's for your romance collection, Tufty. Need to make sure you still have a decent percentage of romance on your digital TBR, right? So we are almost ready to start our final sprints. And yeah, we'll see. Good luck, guys. Make it a good one, whatever you are doing. Had to wait for the ring. So, how did we all do? Final sprint over. I got through 90 pages today, which is very nice. I am still gonna finish my chapter after these sprints because Ah, I'm basically on the final page before finishing the chapter, so it won't be long of a stretch anymore after these sprints. But I am happy because I did get into the swing of this book a lot more. It's just like digressing from the source material at this point in time, which is what it needed to do because otherwise I was just drawing too much of a comparison between the two. Okay, sorry, Buffy, but I am gonna sit here so that I can check the comments. Um, where am I? Here. See, I only count the ones I pay money for since that is the part I need to watch out for. Yeah. Anything with a spaceship on the cover gets me. I can't help it. Space opera with a ragtag crew. There are so many. Yeah, I can imagine. Yes, Buffy. I saw so many great covers on the sci-fi books when I was trailing author libraries on the Storygraph. For instance, I was adding 2 books by M.R. Forbes, and he has something of 60 plus books in his catalogs. The language chip has been turned off, it seems like, in my brain. So I'd go off and start tidying up all his data, see lots of sci-fi that I'd want to read based on the cover, but always know that I too start 2 of his books. M.R. Forbes does that a bit of does a bit of that with his War Eternal series. 2 stars. Hello, sorry I'm late. Going to read Merrick by Anne Rice. Is that like a later book in the series of like the Vampire Lestats? Starship Eternal. As soon as this started, I was groaning at the Mills and Boone scene. Then it got weird. Things got interesting with the arrival of the main ship crew until we got more Mills and Boone. Okay. Just woke up really late. I'm so sorry. Did we already have the food discussion? I'll be continuing with Tigana by Guy Gabriel Kay, right? Um, we touched upon food, but we didn't go into as much of a discussion as we've done in past sprints. This is like cat TV for humans. I love it. Yeah. I did mention dulce de leche pie earlier, indeed. Well, I am for the moment all caught up on BookTube. Nice. On tonight, I have read exactly 0 pages, but I'm just about to start my reading for my evening finally. Well, you also finally caught up to BookTube, which is also nice. Won't stay like that for long, I guess, but it's nice for you to be back up and back up to track, back up on track, right? 21 pages. I've read another 24 pages, so 75 in total. Very happy. Bloodmarked is really good so far. Nice. I couldn't decide what to read, so I started a CCJ novella since it's still Black History Month. CCJ. No, don't know what that stands for. Buffy Fate Buffy and Fate are absolutely demanding of attention. You are absolutely right. Finished The Nature of Fascism, started The Triumph of the Moon, a history of modern pagan witchcrafts. Your language chip is operating better than my typing based upon that sentence of mine. Oh, wow. I didn't know there were so many books in that series. So, I mean, I'm assuming that you're liking them, considering you are still up and running when it's already book 7. I'm really looking forward to opening up a Royal Assassin in a few minutes after the sprints ends. These are slow-paced books, but they are so wonderfully written, very evocative. Yeah, I feel like I've to some extent had a mediocre month, but there is one like saving grace, and that is Ship of Magic, which I absolutely adored. And I was kind of tempted to just go straight into Mad Ship. So we'll see. We'll see whether I push it forward in the end or not. Christina C. Jones, prolific black indie romance author. Okay, don't know her. But it's nice that you can still fit one more in into the month. Your cat's meows are too cute. If you consider them cute, They are annoying in my opinion, but because Buffy has a really like eh, meow, like it's completely complaining meow. Whereas Fate has like a clear meow, it's like clear as a bell, like meow. But Buffy has that meow. Yes, how are you liking Tigana? There are 13 books in total. Yeah, I'm liking them. Okay, 13. Wow. Because they're not even that short, right? I mean, maybe they're not all chunkers, but it's not like they're short books neither. I feel a bit guilty about the number of books I haul, so I don't mention all of them as mentioned earlier. I did get the entire Realm of the Elderlings series in a couple of batches. Realm of the Elderlings I get from my library, and we'll see like if this turns into like my favorite series or something like that, which it's very it has big potential to be one of my favorite series of all times after I finish it, then I might buy it. Who knows? But I don't know. On the other hand, I'm also like, I want to use my library more. And so this is a very useful way for me to use my library because I know that they have them all. I haven't continued with Assassin's Quest for a couple of days and maybe I miss Fits a bit. I mean, I must admit that I actually don't miss Fits in the Live Ship Trader series. I don't think have a big attachment to Fitz. My cat meows much louder. Don't worry, Fitz will be there suffering whenever you get back to him. That's a given. I have a neighbor whose dog barks his brain out. Dog. I have a neighbor whose dog barks its brains out most days. It wakes me up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and 7 a.m. quite frequently. I'd rather have cat meows if I have a choice. I can get that. Yes. You can, yeah, yeah, cat meows. Oh, oh. Got a cat hair in my nose, I think. Ugh. Buffy, what did you do to me? The slow pace of Hobbes' books is so wonderful that I can see me liking them a whole bunch, hence I was happy to swoop on an entire set. Yeah, I can imagine. I still prefer the dog to the domestic disputes of my yeah, definitely. Definitely. I can see that. My colleague actually shared a statistic yesterday that, like, not statistics, like research conclusions that apparently cat people are more intelligent than dog people. Do you have a preference for using your library because it means less books on your shelves, just favorites, for example, or perhaps because the borrow period forces you to read them quicker? Mm, I just feel like I kind of miss the experience of, like going to the library and like picking stuff up on a whim, and then with that you can do that without then feeling guilty if you don't read those books, and then you just return them back to the library afterwards, and you can always check them out again later at some point, but there's not this sort of like backlog that creates itself that way. My downstairs neighbors have two dogs and they never walk them. Oh no, they only get out to the front garden right under my window, including Sundays at 7 a.m. Oh no. They bark constantly, I can imagine. Yeah, geesh. I don't have a library ticket. I haven't been to a library since I was a child. Yeah, I live in the center of a city, so of course the library is pretty easily accessible for me. I have neighbors with a dog. I had neighbors with a dog for many years and never heard the dog. Once the owner even asked me whether I can hear the dog walking in the flat above me. Yeah, I think I hear it when there's like a child visiting upstairs, but not a dog. Or maybe it's just like when the dog is really active, because they don't have a child. So I only occasionally hear noises of running upstairs, and then I just assume they have like a child over visiting or something like that. Because otherwise, I would assume I would hear the dog more often if that was the sound of the dog running around. I used to hop on my bicycle and trash down the road to my home city's central library quite frequently as a kid. Yeah, we always lived close to a library, and so I think we often went there to pick up new books, even though I wasn't much of a reader. But like as of the age of 10, I was. So I was reading, I was going quite a lot. Oops, I did not keep up with the timer. I don't know that I would have such freedom nowadays as a kid as I did when I was growing up. I had a dog and she was super quiet, only barked when the doorbell rang. Nice. Anyway, time's up. Maybe I'll send you a picture of my. Yeah, do. I have to teach a class, so I have to mute live until near the end. Talk to you in an hour. See you. Thanks for sprints. You're welcome. Our upstairs neighbors recently gave a coupon because their kid loves to play her musical instrument and we barely hear her. Wow, that's nice. And she snored really, really loud. Yeah. Cat snores can also be super loud. But so, first time I've actually gone over time, but we will try to be better about timing next week. I still need to schedule my sprints next week, but they're definitely also happening. But so, yeah, see you guys. I hope you enjoyed the sprints and have a lovely evening and see you next week. Bye.